This video is the back of the notes from class. This is your homework problems. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the matrices. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 4x minus 2y equals 22 and 6x plus 9y equals negative 3. So when you're looking at your matrices, you need to figure out this matrix, a variable matrix, and then your answer matrix. So what I like to do is pre-draw items. So I'll have a 2 by 2. With a 2 by 1 with x and y, because those are my variables, equals my answers, which would be the 22 and negative 3. With that, since I pulled out the x and y, we're going to get rid of these, and we're just going to look at the numerical values. So that means I have a 4, negative 2, 6, and 9. So now that I have my matrix equations set up, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to find my determinant, and I know what it says over here off to the left. It's just thought process of where you're at. My determinant comes from my first matrix, where this is A, B, C, D, and my determinant is AD minus BC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply them. And what I'm looking at is this diagonal times each other minus that diagonal times each other. So here over off to the side, I would have 4 times 9 minus negative 2 times 6. And then that value, when you get that number, is going to be 36 minus a negative 12, which is going to come out to be a positive 48. All right. So with that being a positive 48, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my inverse. And from in class, what we're going to do is we are going to set up 1 divided the determinant, and then we're going to set up this matrix here. And with that, we're going to just show our work and set up that matrix. So it's 1 divided by our determinant, which is 48. And then the matrix that I still need to create for my inverse. And then my original work. Oops. Is going to be 4, negative 2, 6, 9, x, y, equals, and then what I did on the left side, I also have to do on the right side of the equation. So it's going to be my 1 over my determinant. Because when you are dividing matrices or solving with matrices, you have to use matrix inverse multiplication. And what we have to do is we have to find the value or inverse matrix that when I multiply, I get the identity. Okay? So in order to do that and set up that matrix, we're going to now come back to our original diagonals. So what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this diagonal first, and then I'm going to look at this diagonal. So my A and my D are going to switch their spots. So 4 is going to go down here, and 9 is going to go up here. And then my negative 2 and 6 stay in the same location, but their signs are going to change. So I'm going to write down 2 and 6, and I'm going to double check on that green arrow that I have a negative 2. It must become a positive 2. I have a positive 6, so I need to make this 6 become negative. All right. Now with that, I'm going to rewrite that over onto the far right side. And I'm just going to copy down the red matrix. So 9, 2, negative 6, and 4. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do matrix multiplication. Now with my matrix multiplication, I'm going to focus on these two matrices first. All right. So I'm going to take 9 times something plus 2 times something, and I'm going to do that twice. I'm going to draw this little dash line here and this so I get it done in there twice because I have row 1. So then I'm going to do 9 times something plus 2 times something. And then I'm going to write down my numbers that go in there. So with that, this is row 1. That's this here and this here. I'm going to take it times column 1 and then column 2. So column 1 is going to be a 4 and a 6. Column 2 is going to be that -2 and 9. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do row 2, which is -6 times something plus 4 times something. And I'm going to write that down again because I'm still in row 2. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to copy column 1 down. So this is column 1. So my parentheses match. Same thing with column 2. Those are going to just repeat. So I'm going to go 4, 6, -2, and 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this on my calculator. Now, with that, I'm going to have 1 over my determinant, still a 48. And then I'm going to write down this new value. And I'm going to write it down in a light blue color. I do apologize if you are colorblind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through each part. So 9 times 4 is 36, plus 12 is 48. 9 times -2 plus 2 times 9 is a -18 plus 18, which is 0. -6 times 4 is -24, plus 4 times 6 is 24, which is also 0. -6 times -2 plus 4 times 9 is a positive 12 plus 36. So what I get is a 48, a 0, a 0, and a 48. All right. And then of my original problem, I have X and Y. And what I've done is I've done the multiplication to prove that I created the correct inverse matrix, the red matrix next to the black one above the purple arrow. With the multiplication, since my denominator of 48 matches my diagonal with 48, if I take 1/48 times both those 48s, I'm going to get an awesome, identity matrix, which is 1, 0, 0, 1. And what I did is I took this times that value, got that value, and then I took 148 times 48, and I got this one, and 0 times anything is 0. So that's my identity matrix. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in my X and Y equals, okay. And then over here off to the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to have 1/48 brought down. And then I'm going to multiply this matrix. So I'm going to use these two matrices. I'm going to do the same multiplication. So I have a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 1. So I'm just going to do one column. So it means I'm just going to have this one value here. Row 1 is going to be my 9 times something plus 2 times something. Row 2 is going to be -6 times something plus 4 times something. And that column of 22 and -3 is going to get thrown in here. Okay. And then those values I'm going to write in the blue as well. We're going to come here. And in my calculator, I'm going to get whatever numbers those are. So please bear with me while I find out what that's going to be. So 9 times 22 plus a -6. It's going to give me 192. And then 6 times 22, that's negative, is a -132 plus a negative 12 gives me a negative 144. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those two numbers and I'm going to multiply 1/48 times 192 and 1/44, which means I'm just dividing by 48. I'm going to get two numbers. So 192 divided by 48 gives me 4. I want to say that's going to be negative 3, but I don't check. And this is negative 3. So what I've done is I have shown that the inverse matrix that I picked by doing my math on the left side comes down to the identity matrix. And then my answer comes to be 4, negative 3, where x relates to 4 and y equals negative 3. So my final answer is going to be a point, 4, comma, negative 3. And there's my final answer. There will be one more separate video that will be uploaded with this, so then you can watch me work the other one out.